What if I told you that a single film made during the golden age of Hollywood could change everything you thought you knew about cinema? What if I told you that one of its stars almost didn't make it onto the screen, and that the entire movie came within an inch of disaster? Let's dive into the dark secrets of the Maltese Falcon, the film that gave birth to the legendary noir genre. The film that almost didn't happen. The Maltese Falcon didn't start as a guaranteed success. In fact, the movie was made after two previous adaptations of Dashiell Hammett's novel had failed miserably. The first adaptation, in 1931, was a box office flop, and the second, in 1936, turned the story into something barely recognizable, leaving The Falcon itself as more of a comedy than a thriller. But that third time, that was the charm. A rookie director's big break. John Huston, a first-time director, took the reins of the third adaptation. He was given complete control, but with little faith from the studio. Warner Brothers saw the film as just another quick project for a greenhorn director, not realizing that this was going to be one of the most influential films in Hollywood history. Huston was meticulous, and every shot was planned like a work of art. Huston, ever the perfectionist, was a master of pacing, shadow play, and tension, elements that would go on to define film noir. Creative battles and studio skepticism. One of the major battles during production involved casting. The role of Sam Spade, the cynical private detective, was crucial, and Warner Brothers was insistent on a different star. They initially wanted George Raft, a top actor at the time, but Raft, having a difficult time making up his mind, turned the role down twice. The studio's first pick was out, and they were left scrambling for someone else. And that's when Humphrey Bogart stepped in. At that point, Bogart was known for playing tough guys in B-movies, but he had yet to make it to leading man status in the eyes of many filmmakers. Huston, however, saw something in him, and against all odds, he cast Bogart as Sam Spade. Bogart's transformation into Sam Spade. When you think of the Maltese Falcon, you immediately think of Sam Spade, and that means you think of Humphrey Bogart. But his journey to becoming the iconic private eye was not as simple as it seemed. Before this film, Bogart was in a career slump. He had made a name for himself playing secondary roles in gangster films, but he had yet to secure a leading role in a major hit. Warner Brothers initially didn't see him as the right fit for Spade. Some even thought he wasn't tough enough, but Huston was convinced. He knew Bogart could deliver the necessary edge, and that his natural intensity would bring something fresh to the noir genre. The legendary Mary Astor. Opposite Bogart was Mary Astor, who portrayed Bridget O'Shaughnessy. Her character is a femme fatale with a mysterious past, and Astor nailed the role. But Astor's own life mirrored her character in some shocking ways. Just a few years before filming, Astor was at the center of one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood. Her husband stole her personal diaries, which contained explicit accounts of her affair with a famous playwright. The scandal nearly destroyed her career, but by the time Maltese Falcon was in production, she turned her reputation around, and her performance as the manipulative femme fatale was truly iconic. Sidney Greenstreet's film debut. Then there was Sidney Greenstreet, playing the role of Caspar Gutman, the wealthy man obsessed with the Maltese Falcon. This was his first film, and he was 61 years old at the time. He had spent decades on stage, but had no experience in front of the camera. This was a huge gamble for Warner Brothers. But Greenstreet's towering presence and booming voice made him a natural for the role, and his performance was so remarkable that he was nominated for an Academy Award. The power of the Falcon. The iconic bird, the object of every character's obsession, wasn't just a prop. The iconic bird had its own troubled history. The first Falcon prop was made of lead, making it incredibly heavy. There were several replicas, each with its own backstory, but one Falcon prop was actually dropped during filming, leaving a visible dent. The original prop, Now housed at the Warner Brothers Museum, is a significant artifact in cinema history and worth a small fortune. The fast-paced dialogue. The Maltese Falcon is famous for its rapid-fire dialogue. Much of the film's success came from the snappy, witty exchanges between characters. Houston encouraged the actors to speak fast, mimicking the speed of a detective's thought process. This decision would go on to define the pacing of film noir. The fast dialogue and constant tension kept the audience on the edge of their seat. The iconic final line. One of the most memorable lines in film history comes at the end of The Maltese Falcon. The stuff that dreams are made of. This line, delivered by Humphrey Bogart, was not in the original script. In fact, it was Bogart's idea. The line was inspired by Shakespeare's The Tempest, and when Bogart pitched it to John Huston, Huston immediately knew it was perfect. The line encapsulated the entire point of the film, the futile chase for the falcon, a symbol of elusive dreams and unattainable desires. The enduring influence. Even decades after its release, The Maltese Falcon remains one of the most influential films in American cinema. Its combination of hard-boiled detective fiction and dark, atmospheric noir has inspired countless filmmakers. Sam Spade is still considered one of the most iconic roles in film history, and Humphrey Bogart's portrayal of the detective set the standard for every tough, morally complex character that followed in the genre. Awards and recognition. The film was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Sidney Greenstreet, and Best Screenplay for John Huston. It did not win any of these Oscars, but its influence on cinema was undeniable, and it has remained a critically acclaimed classic. The flashback technique. In The Maltese Falcon, the use of flashbacks was revolutionary for its time. The fragmented storytelling style, where different characters provide their versions of events, allowed the audience to slowly piece together the truth. Each flashback revealed crucial details, adding layers of complexity to the narrative. This approach heightened the sense of mystery and intrigue, keeping the audience on the edge of their seat as they tried to decipher the truth. The technique would become a staple in film noir, influencing countless future films by using unreliable narrators and fractured timelines to create a sense of confusion and suspense. Sam Spade's final line. The closing line, "I don't mind a bit of trouble," delivered by Sam Spade, encapsulates the essence of the film noir genre. It perfectly represents the cynicism and fatalism that defined many of the films in this category. Spade, a morally ambiguous character, shows little emotional attachment to the chaos and corruption around him. His cold indifference to the dangerous situation he's in highlights the themes of moral ambiguity and hopelessness. This line also marks a crucial moment of self-realization for Spade as he walks away from the femme fatale, unshaken and ready for whatever comes next. The birth of film noir. The Maltese Falcon is often hailed as the official birth of film noir. With its dark themes, morally ambiguous characters, and sharp cinematography, it set the tone for the genre and influenced the look and feel of countless noir films to follow. The film's focus on corruption, deception, and betrayal paved the way for future films that explored similar themes in dark, gritty settings. Noir's use of low-key lighting and shadowy imagery also became defining traits of the genre. The Maltese Falcon didn't just introduce a new style of storytelling, it created a new cinematic language that still resonates today. Impact on future films. The influence of the Maltese Falcon on future films cannot be overstated. Directors like Orson Welles cited it as one of the key inspirations behind Citizen Kane, particularly in terms of its pioneering use of flashbacks and nonlinear storytelling. The film's success opened the door for film noir to flourish in the 1940s and 1950s, influencing directors like Alfred Hitchcock and Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino, in particular, drew on the rapid dialogue and morally complex characters in films like Pulp Fiction. The enduring influence of the Maltese Falcon is evident in modern noir films, demonstrating its lasting legacy. Critical reception. Upon its release, the Maltese Falcon was met with critical acclaim, earning 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Sidney Greenstreet, and Best Screenplay for John Huston. It did not win any of these Oscars, but its gripping storytelling and iconic performances ensured it earned its place in film history. Critics praised the film for its tightly constructed narrative, which balanced suspense and character development with visual artistry. The film's influence continues to be felt in the way contemporary films handle dialogue and character complexity, marking the Maltese Falcon as a true cinematic masterpiece. The Falcon's influence on pop culture. The Maltese Falcon has transcended its initial release and become a cultural touchstone. The film's iconic falcon, the object of obsession for so many of its characters, has been referenced across various media platforms. From television shows to advertisements, the falcon has cemented its place in popular culture as a symbol of desire, greed, and betrayal. Humphrey Bogart's portrayal of Sam Spade is now considered one of the most influential characters in film history. The film's impact extends beyond cinema, influencing literature, music, and even the way modern filmmakers craft their own noir-inspired projects. Its place in pop culture is as secure as ever. The Maltese Falcon was more than just a film. It was a cultural touchstone that helped define film noir. From the scandalous backstories to the actors who brought this world to life, it's a masterpiece that continues to captivate audiences more than 80 years later. What are your thoughts on this classic? Which film noir should we uncover next? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's darkest secrets.